Tourney not even halfway through, but that's not stopping players from thinking about next season. The transfer portal opened on Monday, and since then, there's over 1,150 Division I players have entered. This far outpaces last year's record-setting pace, which ended up closing with around 2,100 players. This is irking certain coaches in the Sweet 16. Tom Izzo is one of them.
I saw what happened at one school that, teams get a chance to play in the Sweet 16 and people are entering the transfer portal. Kids got to do what they got to do. And they're really not doing what they got to do. They're doing what their parents or their agents are telling them to do, because they still got to go to practice, go in the same locker room unless they leave the team. And I think that's insane. I think it's disgusting. But, that's my own personal opinion. I'm going to worry today about the guys I got in this program that have done an incredible job this year. And that's it. And if that costs me later, so be it. But Tom Izzo isn't cheating the people that he has that have been loyal to him for this chaos that is going on out there. All right, let's get back to some good things. That's not insulting. I'm not mad at you. I mean, I kind of am, but I'm not really. But I think you should know me well enough. But I learned from Stephen A. and you have the right to ask the question.
Whoa, we got a Stephen A. shout out. I mean, there's just a lot happening
Stephen A.,
today.
you get mentioned all over America.
This is so much. He said it's insane. He said it's disgusting, Coach. It's a lot to break down. Do you agree with Izzo?
100% I agree with Izzo, but here's the problem. It's the NCAA. The transfer portal, first of all, is open 12 months a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. That's just the way it is. The reality. The agents are shopping these guys year-round. Having said that, I spoke to Tom Izzo that morning, and he was talking about this exact situation. The portal officially should not open until after the NCAA tournament. 100%. The portal should not open once the brackets are announced on that Sunday to the NCAA tournament. There's dead periods throughout the year in college basketball. Why shouldn't this be a dead period? It should be a dead period. Let people get lost in their teams. Get people get lost and being the best version of themselves coaching their teams. I talked to Tom that morning that he had that press conference, and he was kind of venting to me about what was going on. And I said, Tom, pour into your team. That's the most important thing. Pour into your team. This is a special group you have. Live, eat, breathe what this team can do and the special moment they can have. So, to me, my solution to this thing is NCAA, get smart. Portal doesn't open until after the Wednesday after the NCAA championship game. And then we alleviate all of this. Now, look, we had two kids like Justin Pippen. He put his name in. He's on that Michigan team. His name's in the portal. He's in the Sweet 16. Doesn't make any sense. Then you got a guy, the kid who just committed to St. John's yesterday, Joe Sansonet. All right, the portal opened on Monday. He committed Tuesday. So the portal's open 24 hours, 7 days a week, 12 months a year. That's just the way it is because the agents are controlling what's going on with these players. But Tom Izzo is 100% right.
I did not disagree with you. He's absolutely right. Certainly the portal should be open. I mean, there should definitely be a period where that portal should not be open. The NCAA tournament, I like that suggestion, Coach, in terms of not opening it until the NCAA tournament is over. I totally get that. I understand that. But I want to go into a deeper conversation about Tom Izzo, who I've known for years, and I got a lot of love for him. He's a phenomenal coach. This man has been coaching at Michigan State since 1995. Molly, he's never had a losing season, not one time, okay? We're talking about 27 years, 8 Final Fours, and a national championship in 2000, okay? That's who we're talking about when we're talking about Tom Izzo, one of the great, great coaches in college basketball history. But the only reason the program is considered a blue blood, so to speak, is because of him, not because of the talent he recruits to the program. They've had some damn good talent, a great one in Irvin Magic Johnson, obviously. You look at some other cats that with Mateen Cleaves and others, Draymond Green obviously comes from there and along with a bevy of others, and nothing but the greatest respect. But in terms of superstar caliber dudes that would ultimately show up in the NBA, be on another level, et cetera, that's not what Tom Izzo is known for. And so to live in this day and age where you have agents, you have parents, hanger-ons, et cetera, influencing a kid, That is very, very tough for him to do. That, you know what, blackmail, like, this is what you want, this is what you're going to have to give us, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And nobody wants to deal with that. And that's a very, very difficult thing for Tom Izzo to deal with. And so I understand where his frustration is coming from. I empathize with him. But he has to understand that most people should empathize with him and not the sport. Because the sport spent years, meaning the NCAA and the way things were structured, where kids weren't being taken care of. Coaches were being taken care of, programs were being taken care of, but not nearly as much for the kids. And they exploited it and exploited it and exploited it until lawsuits came down the pike. And their very existence was in jeopardy. So now you got people that see that the power has shifted, and they're taking advantage of them the way they were once taken advantage of. And Tom Izzo was caught in the middle of that, unfortunately. And it's very frustrating for him, I understand.
Yeah, it's frustrating for him, and he's dealing with it. Like I tell Tom all the time, you know what? Do what you're comfortable doing. Don't worry about what other people are doing. You can build your program in your own image like you've done for 27 straight years in the NCAA tournament. Stay focused on you, and don't worry about the static around you. Now, look, it's a byproduct of the agents are controlling everything. There are agents that are shopping players right now, and those players don't even know they're being shopped. There are agents right now trying to set the market, Stephen A., at obscene numbers that basically are not real. Yet, you know what? Coaches, I think, most importantly, what they've got to do now is say they got to know when to hold and when to fold them. Like, they're being tested. And there's got to be a dollar figure. So, you know what? I'm not paying that dude that. That's just the way it is. You've got to control your salary cap. And Tom Izzo's going to figure that out because he always figures it out. But you look at his team like, Jaren Jackson, he was a great player for him. He only stuck around 1 year, he was a great player. He's got Chase Richardson's son. He's got a good team. But do what you're comfortable doing. Get lost in your team, especially this time of year. Get lost in your team. Pour into your team.
Yeah, it's a new day for sure. Uncharted waters. All right, Coach, I'll start with you. Sweet 16 team that you have the most confidence in.
These are 8 incredible games in the next 2 days, but the team I have the most confidence in is the Florida Gators. Haven't watched them in person. Haven't watched them practice. The pace, the force, the depth. Their ability to beat you on the glass, beat you in transition, beat you from the three, beat you with their guards, beat you with their bigs. They're the most complete team, especially if you take into consideration depth in the tournament. And having the game they had against Connecticut is a good thing. You're going to have one of those games. But seeing Walter Clayton, how he responded after struggling all game to make big shot and big play, Florida, to me, is the most dominant team left in the field.
Coach, I'm inclined not to disagree with you because I got Florida winning the national championship, but I do have my concerns. That game against UConn was too tight for my liking. 77-75, it made me very, very nervous. I mean, my bracket's busted anyway. I'm at less than 30% for crying out loud. But it's like I just watched the game, and I got you, and I get that part. I can't dismiss Duke, who's won their games thus far by 67 points. Who has Cooper Flag, this kid Proctor. I got to tell you, Coach, as much as I believe in Florida, if this kid Proctor continues to shoot like that, Duke is winning the national championship. I got Florida because I don't think it'll happen. But Proctor shooting like that, like he did last game, Coach, to me, I don't know how you're going to beat Duke if he's making shots like that.
Stephen, I don't disagree with that, especially complemented by their defense. Their defense is ridiculous. The length of their defense at Duke, they swallow people up. I mean, literally swallow people up. They build a wall around that three-point line. It is hard to get an open look and a good shot against them. Florida can do similar things, though. Florida has more options, and Florida can survive an injury. They can survive foul trouble, which I think right now, depending on Malik Brown, I'm not sure Duke can. Duke has been phenomenal in the tournament. I love what John Shire has done. I love watching him play. I just think Florida's depth might be a differentiator in terms of if the two met.
I got you. I'm dead. That's it, Molly.
All right. Concern level for Duke, real quick?
I don't have a concern for Duke. Look, I think Arizona's a good team. They're a much better team that Duke beat at Arizona. I mean, you got to remember now, Arizona started the season 4-5. They literally, their ball movement was awful. They weren't sharing the basketball. They weren't defending with a purpose. They weren't shooting the ball from the three. They shot under 30% from the three those first 9 games. They're shooting 36 now. They've changed what they're doing offensively. They have a kid named Henry Vesar, a 7-footer that opens up the court. Having said that, it goes back to the same thing. The versatility defensively that Duke has. They switch 1 through 5. They got a 7'2" guy with a 7'4" wingspan that can switch on a guard and guard the basketball. They've got length and athleticism on the perimeter. They've got a physicality to them. They've got a connectivity to them. And people forget, Cooper Flagg, we talk about what he does offensively. He's got a 7'2" wingspan. His defensive range is ridiculous. So I think that Duke handles this game on the defensive end.
So do I, but I think they're going to do it because they're going to take away Arizona's strength, which is transition. If you're able to do that, then you should be able to beat Arizona. My issue is if you're Arizona, can you take advantage? Can you make Duke? Can you make Duke play at your pace? Because to me, that's the only shot that they have. I don't know if they're going to be able to pull that off. I'm a fan of Caleb Love. And one of the things I'm paying attention to here with him, Coach, is this. This is a guy that transferred from North Carolina. So he's familiar with the whole Duke, North Carolina thing or whatever. He knows what Duke is going to bring to the table. Stars show up in the NCAA tournament all the time, no matter the Cinderellas. There's 2 things that we see in NCAA tournaments most times. Not every time, but most times. We see a Cinderella and we see a star. And Caleb Love, he's going to have to be a star in order for Arizona to beat Duke. It's got to happen.
He's had those moments. He had those moments on Coach K's senior night, and he had those moments in the semifinals of the NCAA tournament when he helped lead North Carolina to the championship game.
Yeah. I'll be focused on the women's tournament only.